Beware the Ides of March, a saying that has become an internationally recognized omen of impending doom and death for any who would ignore such a foretelling. And in popular tradition, a soothsayer would give this exact warning to Caesar, and henceforth on March 15, 44 BCE, Caesar would meet his demise as was predicted. Although it is true most people today are familiar with the general outline of Caesar's assassination, such as the fact that he was ambushed by a rival group of senators during a senatorial meeting and was stabbed to death in the melee. But what many will be unfamiliar with is what exactly occurred during this deadly senatorial meeting. What actions did Caesar take as he was set upon by assailants from all sides, and what were the causes that led to Caesar's assassination in the first place? All these questions and more will be answered by analyzing the viewpoint of contemporary ancient historians who make reference to the death of Caesar, providing some insight into what exactly occurred during the fabled Ides of March in 44 BCE. But before we begin, don't forget, if you want to learn more about the death of some of history's greatest figures, then subscribe to my channel Historical Exit. When discussing the assassination of Julius Caesar, it is necessary to first have a foundational understanding of why so many senators felt that such a brutal and deadly plan was necessary in the first place. Ancient Roman historians such as Plutarch, Suetonius, Cicero, and Appian all provide varying discourses about the reasons why the senators felt forced to carry out such a risky and devastating plot, with the most dominant and recurring reason being that Caesar's growing influence, especially amongst the general Roman populace, and his disregard for many republican traditions, ignited fear amongst the Roman elite that Caesar secretly held monarchic ambitions. These fears and concerns were further exacerbated when Julius Caesar named himself dictator for life, resulting in lead conspirators Brutus and Cicero to plan and organize a secret plan to assassinate the de facto ruler of Rome. Additionally, many senators who were opponents and detractors of Caesar began to witness their power and influence starting to dwindle rapidly, and as these senators began to feel more isolated and unheard, they felt the only way to curb Caesar's power and save the democracy of the Roman Republic was by assassinating Caesar himself. So how exactly did the murder of Julius Caesar occur? To answer this question, we will be critically considering the evidence presented in the singular contemporary source we have which discusses the assassination of Caesar in any great degree of detail, and that is the historical text Life of Augustus by Nicolaus of Damascus. It is strongly purported that the description of Caesar's death presented by Nicolaus is based off of a mix of earlier sources and interviews with individuals who were either familiar or eyewitnesses to the events. Nicolaus provided a detailed depiction of Caesar's final moments and the conspiracy against him in the Life of Augustus. Nicolaus reaffirms that the conspirators against Caesar were led by Brutus and Cassius, and they were able to lure Caesar into a Senate meeting at the theater of Pompey. When Caesar arrives at the meeting, he is approached by Lucius Tullius Cimber, who was pretending to petition the exile against his brother, but as he got close to Caesar, Cimber began pulling on Caesar's toga, which was a signal for the senators involved in the plot to attack, and Nicolaus purports that the first stab was delivered by Servius Casca, who stabbed Caesar in the neck. This was followed by several more stabs by many more senators. Nicolaus highlights that Caesar tried to fight back as best as he could with his stylus, a popular tool for writing during that time, but it was futile as the number of assailants against Caesar were just far too many. Specific mention is also made to the fact that Caesar was shocked to see Brutus amongst his attackers, but Nicolaus makes no mention of any final words to Brutus, or that Caesar covered his face with his toga specifically after witnessing Brutus's involvement in the plot, which is an embellishment that can be identified in later sources such as Suetonius or Plutarch's works. Nicolaus concludes his description of Caesar's assassination by noting that although Caesar was stabbed multiple times, receiving anywhere from 23 to 35 wounds, most of these cuts were superficial and that only one of the stab wounds was fatal. But that one wound was enough to ensure that Caesar's days would come to a bloody end, and the senators would leave his dead body on the Senate floor, marking an end to his reign of tyranny. Nicolaus brings to life the brutal end of Caesar's death in the life of Augustus by stating, Caesar was then carried along by the others, wounded by many blows, until, fainting from his wounds, he fell at the foot of Pompey's statue. There he lay, covering his head with his toga, while the rest of the conspirators kept stabbing him until he died, their rage not abated even though he was already dead. Such a display of brutality and ruthlessness. Did Caesar truly deserve such a horrific and bloody ending? Well, according to letters by contemporary Roman historian and senator Cicero, the death of Caesar was seen as a great victory of liberty over tyranny by himself and many other members of the senatorial class. But of course, as history will recall, those that found great joy and satisfaction in Caesar's death would soon find themselves facing their own mortality and gruesome ends thanks to Mark Antony and Octavian, who would go on to ensure every senator involved in the assassination of Caesar would pay dearly for their crimes. But that is a video for another time, so please do let me know in the comments below if you enjoyed this video and which historical figure's death you would like me to discuss next. And as always, if you want to learn more about the death of some of history's greatest figures, then subscribe to my channel Historical Exit, and please do share this video with others if you enjoyed it. Thank you so much for watching and have a great day. Bye.